Ever wondered why fear grips us, even when we know there's no real danger? Let's dive into the science of fear. Fear is a primal emotional response to perceived threats. It's like an internal alarm system that's hardwired into our brains, alerting us when danger lurks. This response evolved over millions of years, back when our ancestors roamed the earth, facing constant threats to their survival. Imagine, if you will, an early human, let's call him Arjun, out on a hunt. Suddenly he spots a huge, saber-toothed tiger. In that moment, fear kicks in, his heart rate accelerates, adrenaline surges through his veins, and his senses sharpen. He's now ready to either fight the predator or flee from it. This is the fight-or-flight response, a survival mechanism that served our ancestors well in the face of imminent danger. Fast forward to today, and our world has changed drastically. We no longer face saber-toothed tigers on our daily commute, but this ancient fear mechanism is still very much active within us. It's why we feel our hearts pound when we're about to give a big presentation or when we're watching a suspenseful movie. Our brains still react to perceived threats, even if they're not life-threatening. Moreover, fear can be both adaptive and maladaptive. Adaptive fear can motivate us to learn new skills like studying for an exam to avoid failing. Maladaptive fear, on the other hand, can hinder our daily life, causing anxiety and stress over situations that pose no real danger. So, you see, fear isn't merely an emotion. It's deeply rooted in our biology, an evolutionary tool designed to protect us. It's a complex interplay of our senses, our brain, and our nervous system, all working together to keep us safe. But remember, not all fears are equal. Some fears can propel us forward while others can hold us back, and understanding the difference is the first step to harnessing the power of fear and using it to our advantage. Fear, in essence, is an ancient survival mechanism still at work in our modern lives. So the next time you feel fear creeping in, remind yourself that it's just your inner survival system kicking into gear. But not all fear is the same. Can you distinguish between good fear and bad fear? You see, fear isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's a fundamental part of our survival mechanism. It's like an internal alarm system designed to protect us from danger. We can call this good fear. For instance, imagine you're about to touch a hot stove. The fear that stops your hand from making contact with the scorching surface, that's good fear. It's rational, immediate, and protective. It's our body's way of saying, hey, don't do that, you might get hurt. But then there's another kind of fear, the kind that isn't based on immediate, tangible threats. This bad fear is often irrational and can hold us back from reaching our full potential. Consider the fear of public speaking. There's no immediate physical danger involved, yet many of us feel a sense of dread at the thought of standing in front of a crowd. This fear is often rooted in concerns about judgment, failure, or rejection, rather than any real imminent danger. But unlike the fear of touching a hot stove, this fear doesn't serve to protect us. Instead, it hinders our progress and stifles our growth. To illustrate this, let's take a journey into the world of Ravi, a talented young man with a brilliant mind full of innovative ideas. Ravi has the potential to inspire change and make a real difference. However, he's terrified of public speaking. Every time he's offered a chance to share his ideas, he declines out of fear. This is an example of bad fear. It's not protecting Ravi from danger, it's preventing him from seizing opportunities and realizing his full potential. So, the key is to distinguish between these two types of fear: the good fear that keeps us safe and the bad fear that holds us back. This distinction is crucial because it helps us understand when our fear is serving us and when it's standing in our way. Understanding the difference between good and bad fear is the first step towards overcoming unnecessary fears. So, how can you conquer the bad fear that holds you back? There is a saying that fear is only as deep as the mind allows, and it's true. The power to overcome fear resides within us, and we can tap into it using various strategies. Let's explore some of them. First, we have exposure therapy. This is a technique where you gradually and repeatedly expose yourself to the object or situation that frightens you. It's like dipping your toes into the cold water before diving in. Over time, this repeated exposure can lessen the fear response. Then there's cognitive behavioral therapy, often referred to as CBT, which is a type of psychotherapy that helps you understand your fear and change your negative thought patterns. It's like reprogramming your brain to react differently to fear. And thirdly, there's mindfulness. This is a type of meditation where you focus on being intensely aware of what you're sensing and feeling in the moment without interpretation or judgment. It's about living in the present and not letting your fear about future uncertainties control you. To illustrate, let's consider the story of Ravi. Ravi had a crippling fear of public speaking. The mere thought of standing in front of a crowd would make his palms sweat and his heart race. But he knew that to succeed in his career, he would have to overcome this fear. So, Ravi started with exposure therapy. He began speaking in front of a mirror, then in front of his family, and gradually in front of larger groups. He also started CBT sessions where he learned to recognize his negative thoughts about public speaking and replace them with positive ones. Alongside this, he practiced mindfulness, focusing on his breathing and staying present during his speeches, rather than worrying about what could go wrong. And guess what? It worked. Ravi's fear didn't vanish overnight, but it became manageable. He could now speak in public without his fear paralyzing him. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate fear, but to learn how to manage and overcome it. With time, patience, and the right strategies, you too can conquer your bad fear. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. We delved into the science of fear, unraveled its roots in human evolution and how it served as a survival mechanism for our ancestors. We then dissected fear into two types: good fear that acts as a protective shield and bad fear, an unnecessary anxiety that holds us back. Remember, distinguishing between these two types of fear is the first step towards conquering your anxieties. We also discussed effective strategies to overcome bad fear by understanding its source, facing it head-on, and using it as a stepping stone to personal growth and success. Now that you understand fear a little better, you are equipped to face your own fears. Embrace your good fear, challenge your bad fear, and you'll find yourself achieving things you never thought possible. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights like these. Stay fearless.